Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. First order of business, as usual, is to approve the minutes from last week.
I so move.
Approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Wade moved, John seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Motion passed, 3-1 abstaining. Miscellaneous motions, on request of Coffee County Housing Authority Board, authorize and direct Vice Chairman to sign real estate mortgage release acknowledging satisfaction in full debt secured by Scott C. Obert. The description there of the lots in the city of Leroy. Records of where it's recorded.
I'll so move.
Don moved,
I'll second.
Steve seconded. Any discussion? You want to add them to it any? All
Done.
It's done?
Yep,
Good.
it's done.
Those work out pretty good for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, people, it's a good service
Yeah,
to people.
absolutely.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Upon the recommendation of Register of Deeds, move to authorize the Vice Chairman to sign the revised Deputy of Register of Deeds job description.
I'll move.
Read over it in my email. And, Steve moved.
I'll second that.
Wade seconded. Any discussion?
No, she don't have the old one in there, so I'm not sure what she moved, but
She said she could come down if you wanted to talk to her. Real quick.
since we're voting for a new chain, I would hurt at least ask her.
I can ask her real quick.
I know she was close by here although.
We can wait, we can put this on hold till she comes back by.
Hey, Jen, this is Angie. Could you run down real quick and let the commissioners know about your changes? Steve, had you moved on that? Was that right?
Yes.
And who was seconding it?
Second.
Wait.
Here she is. Right?
Are you?
Morning.
Morning.
Don just had a couple questions of what
Oh, okay.
changed about the job description.
We didn't have the old copy with us, and I'm sure what you done is for the best. I mean, I don't doubt that. What part of it did you move or?
Well, the old one had at least 2 years of experience in real estate. Well, that's really hard to find, so I put 2 years of real estate experience preferred on that, to change that. And then the other one that said you must have obtained a certificate through the U.S. State Department to accept passport applications. Actually, that's not a requirement for our office, the passport thing. It's not by statute or anything. It's just something that we have had the opportunity to have training for, so we've started it. So I just changed that, actually I put receipt on it, says certificate, receive certificate through the U.S. passport. I probably should even change that to May, because you can't get the training unless you're training under somebody that accepts it, so nobody's going to have that unless, in this area.
Right.
Unless it's through our office, so, I maybe should even change that to may receive training. I just put receive certification through the U.S. State Department to accept transport, applications. So those are the only two things that I changed on that,
So appreciate the update. I knew where we
yeah.
changed it, it would be the best for the rest of the deeds.
Yeah, well, thanks, yeah. I mean, it definitely, I mean, to do the preferred, for the experience of real estate, but
Right.
there's not a lot of people that have that, and it's not like I can't teach them.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so I'm gonna be willing to do that. And then I think we talked about before that I probably will be going over budget because I have a pretty tight budget. So by the time I hire someone, and then Darla's gonna work and help train
Yeah.
until the end of November.
Right.
You'd already brought that up in a previous meeting,
Yeah, I think you discussed it. Well,
Yeah. So,
it was.
anyway, yeah, got my application out, so.
So do you want to change that? So I mean, because if you do, then we can't approve it as it is. We need to wait till am I correcting that?
Yeah.
She already put the changes in that.
I didn't put the May, but I think it's okay the way it is, receive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we need to, we start to do it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking we had a first and a second, but if you wanted to change another word, then we probably ought to wait till you do that. But if you're comfortable with it, then.
I'm comfortable with it at this point, yeah,
Okay.
so, okay.
All right.
All right, okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So Steve and then Wade, and so any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. That's it for the miscellaneous. Motion 905 is Ryan Ricks.
Oh, no, half it.
Or you did that? Oh,
I guess it's different. Thank
oh,
you.
I see.
Oh.
Okay, I didn't read that. Then I apologize. We had the miscellaneous of approving a mortgage release, and
Yeah.
I just assumed you was here for that. So now you have one landfill fees, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Didn't
you're
have a
okay.
time of its own on there.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, yeah.
so it's all right.
And I'm
We're
filling
fine.
in for Rhonda this morning, so
Okay.
I got two for you. I think you'll recognize one of those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Of course, no problem. Okay, so my first one I'm gonna discuss is the farmhouse.
Okay.
That is Sandra and John Hegman and Ray and Carolyn Burke. It's at 639 Third Road in Grizzly. I believe they said Wade has been there. They already have a property on that. They're just wanting to demo the house. That's there.
They're looking to waive land.
Yeah, Wade landfill lease, yep.
So they've already built another property, another
Yes.
house or?
I believe it's like a shop house.
They had like
Yeah.
a cabin, a
Yeah.
shop house there that they.
Hey, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Weekend house.
I just don't know the right word to say, like, shouse.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Barn dominium.
Yeah, there you go, that's a good one.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what they have there now. So they're just wanting to waive the landfill fees on that one.
Somebody move to do that. I'd move to do that.
I'll second.
Sorry, Wade's moved, Don seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
And then my second one there is 1102 Mohawk. It's a trailer house. Mike Avendroth owns that. He is going to be demoing that. His plan is to put a triplex there, so he would like to just get those landfill fees waived for that.
Is that in Burlington?
It is, yes.
Just the one floor?
I believe that's all that's there still, but
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I just seen another one.
Yeah, I see it in the background, but I don't know that he owns that one.
Okay.
So, yeah,
That's-
it's just one.
My area, so.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like there's another mobile home immediately
Yeah.
behind that. That gonna stay there?
I don't know that he owns that one. I'm not
Okay.
certain on that.
He's gonna put a new structure in?
Yes, that's correct. That's his intention, yes.
Also move.
I'll second.
Tom's moved, Don seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys, have a good one.
You too. You too. Now we can do Mr. Harris.
I think it's a good program. I know it costs us a little something.
Probably
That helps get stuff cleaned up.
Cleans properties up,
Yeah.
makes it available for what they wanna do.
Good morning.
Morning.
We did not have any call-outs this weekend. Would like your approval we had a request from the city of Leroy. They had some damage last night, a lot of tree damage in town there, so they're just requesting some assistance from us. Probably would like to send 4 or 5 operators down there to help them manage the brush. You guys are okay with that?
Yeah, they had several trees down, several
Yeah.
lines down.
So I know Amber's working with the state on, we've got a location for where we'll be piling brush out southeast of town there.
Yeah, take it down to the co-op property.
Yeah, and, so she'll deal with the state on getting the permit for that. So, I think she's talking to them this morning.
75% of the brush, is small enough stuff, one guy could pick it up and do it. There was 8 or 10 pretty good sized trees.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some pretty good
Totally
trees.
down, and there was a lot of intermediate limbs that had fell, that had some size.
Yeah,
So it's gonna take quite a bit of cleaning up.
we've got a
Nobody
couple dump trucks and a
nobody
mini
got hurt.
excavator and a couple saw operators down there.
Yeah.
Gonna help them out.
That's great.
Nobody got hurt, so that's the main thing.
Right. Alright, okay. I would like to request an executive session to discuss job performance of non-elected personnel for the board, myself, and Wade, for 10 minutes.
We don't have Wade with us, so
Saying he
we
was
might
here.
wanna make sure
He's here.
make sure he's,
Also moved.
available.
No, second.
Can we summon him?
No kidding, see where he's at.
I think that at the end of our list today, I had the resolution for the landfill, so I'll probably hold off on that until we have a full board here for that one.
Sure can.
Sounds good.
Mayor, get him. Don, you were moving, correct?
Yeah.
Who was going to second?
Steve.
How much rain did you guys get?
Kinda undetermined.
What?
I had 60 hundredths and Craig had an inch 60.
Okay, it's
I
pretty,
don't know why.
pretty widespread. I think Waverly only had quarter inch or something.
Quarter inch to 30 hundredths.
Yeah,
Had some heavy rain around, sounds like.
Yeah.
Different spots.
Sounds like Leroy was caught the front of it
yeah,
for the most part.
yeah.
It was all over the place down home.
A couple miles over into Lyon County, they had an inch and a half, about straight west of town here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
He was just requesting executive session with you present, but you weren't present, so.
Oh, I was at the bottom of the stairs.
We didn't see him.
Well, to the right,
Oh.
talking with Adam.
We just didn't wanna
Sure.
wait till you was here to make sure if you were available.
Yep.
Had the verbiage correct, so. So anyways, Steve moved?
Yep, for 10
Wade
minutes, is that
seconded.
right? 10 minutes.
Wade
Yeah.
seconded.
Don moved.
Don.
I moved Steve.
Yes.
Them two. Any
Yeah, I know
discussion?
No way to
All in
see it.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're going for 10 minutes at 9:17.
Very good.
We might run a little bit behind on.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
right, after discussion, I would like to ask, for approval of the CB2 for Terry Fisher. Do motion 2023-50.
Move to review and approve CP2 payroll notice for Terry Fisher, Assistant Fleet Crew Supervisor, Highway Promotion Form from, wage classification 4017 to 5511, from wage 2702 to 3009, effective 8/14/23.
I so move.
I'll second.
Please move, Keith seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to ask to advertise in-house to fill the crew leader, which was Terry Fisher's old position.
So, motion 2023-53, based upon the recommendation of Road and Bridge Superintendent, move to advertise and hire one full-time crew leader in-house, no new positions being added. This request will only fill a vacant position within the department due to promotion.
I'll make that motion.
Steve moved.
I'll second that.
Wade seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Alright, thanks. And then we'll hold off on that next one, probably next week,
Okay.
for the landfill resolution. You guys got anything else? That's the last thing I had.
I do not.
I got a couple of things. I could talk to you individually, but this one has to do with Reaper Road. About a mile south of Leroy, it's the west edge, the southbound lane is starting to crack and bend down a little bit. Looks right there between Caldwell's ground and the west ground. I haven't stepped it off. There's probably, might be 100 feet there. And there's places where it's only in the road 2 feet, a couple places maybe 4 feet. But, something might want to take a look at it.
Okay.
It's one of those
Like
things-
areas that
I
need
think it's
patch.
the same soft spot that was there probably before. You know, Reaper Road, since we blacktopped, I mean, it's standing up fantastic
Right,
with all the cover, but that one area is starting to break down.
right. And I think that's the area maybe we lost some asphalt there during the flood in 19, maybe.
Well, that's where some of the, cut loose from the hard copy down
Yeah,
below
yeah.
for the hard service, but
Yeah,
it's not something that's gotta be fixed today or next week, but it probably needs to be fixed. In the southwest corner of that Caldwell field, it's where we took out 10 Whistles plug a year and a half ago.
right.
And they were going to, well, I think Glenn Caldwell gave you permission to take that.
We do, it's on our
But
list
the
to
other
do
day, he
some.
thought that had been taken care of, so he pulled in there and his front wheels went down. So I took the tractor down and pulled him out. So you might, I know he had to give you permission to,
Right.
you know, cut that out
Right.
completely. He didn't realize it hadn't been done in a pretty good dip.
Okay. Yeah, no, that project's still on our books to get that cleaned out.
Have you heard anything on the signs for, or maybe they're already,
I asked, what did I see, Ian Springman a week and a half ago on that,
on the,
pre-con for that bridge up there at Coopman's Bridge, and it's still in the works. They had them ordered. He said as soon as they got them in, that they would get them put up.
okay, all right.
So, they weren't up as of a week and a half ago, but I haven't been up there recently.
That's still in motion? then?
Yeah, it's still in
Okay, all
motion.
right. That's all I needed.
Yep. Okay,
Thanks, Ron.
thank you. Have a good day.
Skipper,
Good morning, Commissioners.
I believe at 10, we, in the schedule, we have to convene in the canvas, just FYI.
What time is it? Oh, yeah.
Okay, just let you know up front.
I hope I'm not 30 minutes.
We'll shut you off for you.
You never know.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
I say we might have to shut you off, but we
sir.
got the rest of the day too.
At 1 o'clock, you've got a public hearing. Now, this would be the public hearing regarding the grant for the SSM project that is going to pay for most of the utility work out there. And I say most, and keeping fingers crossed, based on the estimates from the engineers and what we know, the county is not being asked to put anything into infrastructure other than an agreement to possibly, if needed, catch up the slack of what the grant does not cover on the cost of the roadway, up to capped at $500,000. That leads into the discussion. Now, the public hearing's at 1 o'clock. It's just a requirement of the grant. And you get to look at the budget at that time, the actual grant budget, which shows just what I just said. It's the grant that's proposing to pay for majority of the infrastructure.
When you're talking a cap of 500,000, you mean the county's portion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If-
Okay, I just wanna make sure I understood.
If the cost of the roadway is significantly more than what the engineering estimate is, essentially we're just saying the county would.
Savings, right, check.
Say again? Savings should. He should.
We got a bunch of that going on, right, right?
Yeah.
Other areas too.
Sorry, just trying to make light.
The SSM is working, their attorney's working with Joseph Serrano to get the project development agreement, which is just a statement simply saying, we're going to do this, and the county's going to do this. Or we're making, essentially the county's not offering anything. The SSM is making obligations to the county. They're going to do X, 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 and X. Reason that's important is, we're coming up pretty soon, we've got to sell the property to them, and they've got to willingly allow the assessment to go onto the property and all those other things that you've already put in motion. Part of that is also, there's still a hole in all that. We have not agreed on a price per acre.
That's what I was just ready to ask you if it had been any, we haven't seen any negotiations, so.
I had a discussion with Bobby earlier this morning, and the best way I can word it is that as long, I don't know if we all need to sit down, city of New Strawn, Real Water, whatever, and everybody just knows where their responsibilities lie financially and otherwise. To know what to put for a price tag. I mean, if SSM's gonna pick up all the infrastructure in their grant money, I mean, that makes the price of land way cheaper than if we gotta go kicking in a few $1 million. But I believe, if I remember correctly, and I'm gonna start making me a file folder on each project, so I can keep all those papers readily available, but I believe some of their money, that $2 million, is in that grant to help us with some of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, it's actually, the total grant is 1.5 million, and the match portion they're paying. SSM's covering. So the county's not having to put any match in.
Yes. Serrano's gonna be here at 1 though, right?
That's for the grant writer.
The grant, that's right,
Yes, sir.
Greg. Sorry.
So when you're talking about the road, is this a complete road all the way up to the gravel road?
No, sir. It only goes just a little bit past.
Just to supply them, basically, at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to understand where we're at.
Knowing them, it'll be a nice road. I've seen that.
There's like a cul-de-sac at the end too, turn around.
That's it.
At one time, you were talking like 750,000 for the roadway, is that right?
I hope so.
I mean,
That's the engineering estimate.
Okay.
And it still don't sound cheap, but it,
no, but that's the number that had been thrown out, I mean, earlier,
that's right.
yes.
What about hand seal? What do we do something for more parking for them in the back or something, or was it something that was mentioned before? Because we're gonna take part of their.
Well, he signed, Chris, what's his name? Menard, yes, sir. He signed a easement with the county. When the former commissioners sold that property to Kinsale, they had an agreement, a perpetual easement across this property. So there's no,
Damages. per se on
damages
that.
or impact to him. He knows what's gonna happen, and just to be honest, his personal interest, he's tied in with this new company called Paragon, which is proposing to locate right there next to them.
And there's going to be a parking lot right there.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Looking for
that'd be on the north.
beneficial to him then too.
Absolutely.
Great.
His big thing is, like everybody else's is the ability to hook up one day to a community wastewater. And this leads into the discussion that, request that you had, that we go reach out to New Strong City Council, the council, not individual council members.
Right.
And ask them to just be open and have a discussion with the commission about the possibilities of connection between the airport and their system. Because the only other alternative to locate anything at the airport and provide public service is to build a county lagoon somewhere right there next to New Strong. Which, it makes sense, it doesn't make sense, but the most cost efficient is just to hook to New Strong. Now, if they were, making money and not harmed in that hookup, and they didn't mind it politically, it might make sense. So we just want to have that discussion with them, and I think Commissioner Huguenin suggested possibly a sit down in the basement, if we can pull that off. We're on the agenda for the 14th. They just confirmed in text on the 14th at New Strong to ask them that, if they'll just sit down and have a conversation, just for the wastewater.
Right.
I know sometimes it gets cloudy, we start talking about water and wastewater and electricity and all these other things, they just get,
Yeah, right, and that's not their portion of it,
that Rural Water 3 reminded me again that they would also like to be included in the water conversation. That's really their jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
They sound willing to aggressively tackle some of these issues about possible water pressure. There's certainly volume in that area. That's not I think Carl's covered that before, but any issues on pressure, they're willing to, if there is a problem, they're willing to jump right on it. But they want to meet with the commission also at some point, so we'll probably end up trying to set up 2 separate meetings in some format. Hopefully something, again, down the basement with the commissioners, but at worst case, if either body has to appoint a representative or two of you to go to them, we'll do that. That's the goal of meeting with them, is that for them to have that discussion and set something up.
If we're gonna have a meeting like that, I mean, I think one of the concerns that I've heard voiced is it sounds like they have the capacity as far as the wastewater. They're concerned about what kind of water they're gonna get there, that they could get into a real issue with forever chemicals or something like that. So if there was some information available on what type of water this is gonna be, that would help things move along a lot quicker.
Yes, sir.
That's the indication I've got.
Yes, sir.
I've spoken with one of their consultants working with them with SSM. It's Robert Need, and he's out of Houston. He works directly with them. And what they're doing is we've worked with KDHE already, Robert and I, so that we could also put in a private wastewater system in the short term out there. And we've got to go ahead with KDHE on that. So what they would be doing is removing anything like forever chemicals from the water through the use of the technology, through the recycling of pulling anything out. That's up here above me at this time. But it was part of our discussions of making sure that we have options on the table so we can make better choices going down the road.
And obviously, with my no expertise that I have in the area, so I'm just...
Some of this is evolving technology.
Just if we can, just to help move things along a little quicker, because that's going to be...
We have a lot of anxious folks out there watching what we're doing and seeing it, and when with the talk of the industry, we're constantly kicking ideas around to make sure that we cover all the right bases, the right people to the table.
I appreciate that. I just a point I wanted to make.
No problem.
Might help speed things along if we're trying to make things happen.
No problem.
Everybody involved here.
So,
Thank you.
so a temporary wastewater could be is in the plans for that project out there.
Has to.
Right, and then if something came along with New Strong, that would be a
Right.
winner.
Rick Walker and I are working together on a proposal that had what we would require as a county, because if it becomes a private wastewater system, then I would regulate it through our code.
Okay,
And I've worked with KDHE on that already to get that cleared to where we could put it into a septic tank lateral fill if we had to.
so this project could go ahead and proceed without the okay of New Strong. New Strong could come in later
Right.
and be a player there
Right.
after the fact.
Because we've got other players also with
Sure.
Can Seal, Paragon,
Right,
and then we still have the airport out there who's already on
Okay.
a septic tank lateral field system
of their own.
of their own
Okay.
currently.
Okay.
But what this is we're also trying to keep our heads at the look, medium and long range towards what we would do if we got additional industry out there of what a communal system might look like, or a county sewer district or something of that nature.
So where's the water supply going to come from? Say it starts in September, October, so where's the,
Coffee County RWD3 at this
Okay.
time, yes,
and so they're wanting to be a player
yes.
long term?
Right.
Okay.
We had a short meeting with them and Rick Walker and Saban with the operator from New Strong, Burlington operator, because they're our source water for this area.
Yes, sir.
And then Coffee County RWD3, just so we know what mains were in that area, how they're interconnected. So that way we're covering the bases of knowing where all the water lines at, who could contribute, who couldn't contribute. And it was just to get everything on the table where we knew where the water mains was at, how much was located where.
And that's not going to affect the general public as far as pressure, that you can see?
I'm pushing Rick Walker to look at those numbers,
Okay,
because PEC Engineering works with both the City of Strawn, Coffee 3, I may have got that wrong with City of Strawn, but Coffee 3 and the City of Burlington, their engineering is PEC Engineering. And Rick is in communication with them so that we could look at those possible issues, because we always want to maintain pressure in the system for them. So Rick was at the table so we could get information about where the water towers are located, what are the sizes of the lines in the area, so that we can make a judgment.
and I think you've discussed that before,
No, you're fine. I mean, that was probably a month ago.
yeah.
And there's a lot of information that's been kicked around.
Yeah, I kinda
People
remember
grab you with
yesterday.
rumors. That can confuse it also. But we do have that on the radar. We are looking at it, and we are talking about it.
I'll even go further. They did look into some of those initial complaints from the citizens. None of them were founded just based on pure lack of water supply, or there's a good reason they didn't have pressure. The one or two that actually did have less than the average pressure, there's a good reason for that. But that's up for Rural Water 3 to come in here and tell you guys that.
They had another issue, is
Oh,
what you're
okay.
saying.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Well, we was also asking about the tower, where the closest tower was, because when you get that many miles to push water through a tower, and I don't remember mentioning any pump system doing it, you could have some lulls in water pressure during time as the
Sure.
tower shoves that water out into the
Because that's
system.
gravity, isn't?
It's all gravity,
Yeah.
as far as I know,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we do have people to the table to carry on that conversation.
good.
Very good.
Good.
We just need to keep that forward push.
Right.
Yeah, so I got some good information.
Because the reason we have Burlington, they're the source water, so they push that water out through Water 3, and then Water 3 pushes it out through their system. And the reason Strom was at the table, they're close by, and we just wanted to see how their lines interact. So if we had a water interruption, can we use Strom for a water interruption, or for emergency planning purposes, I should say.
Yeah.
It wasn't to rely on them, but for future planning, so everybody in that room at that time understood where the lines were at, and what the sizes were.
You mentioned the septic tank with laterals. Can you build one of them that'll handle 50 employees?
Yes. What we're looking at is they did a perk test up there. We know that it's a heavy clay soil up there. So Rick and I are talking how we would, what you can do is treat that water to where it makes it better water so it'll infiltrate into the ground. And what that is having a system of variation. It's a septic tank that you can buy and it's modular, that where they can treat it and it'll have it's not the traditional septic tank of an anaerobic water. It would be more aerobic water that would infiltrate it to the soil
I wasn't
easier.
questioning whether you could do it or not, but when we
It's
were
just a matter of
hoping to get that
sizes.
septic tank.
Well,
I think they plan on that.
No, that's
Well,
right.
to give you, how we look at it is, we're looking at maybe 1,400 gallons a day that they would have to dispose of.
Right.
It's not that you can't do it, it's how big of an area are you willing to pay for. And knowing that there's a chance that we're going to be expanding into the future, maybe we put in a big holding tank, they have a contract with the septic tank hauler until we do the communal system and get other buildings built. So that's another option besides that as we look down the road. So we're putting options on the table and looking at it as I go, so they don't go out and spend $70,000 on a septic tank lateral field system, and then 5 years from now,
After,
we put in a communal system where we attach the strong or.
Yeah.
So, and I've been in contact with Darren Ish also to know, what the FFA requirements are for having a sewage treatment system out at the airport, where we could have a lagoon or we couldn't have a lagoon. So if we was to choose that, so that we got a proper setback distance from the airport, because the wildlife hazard when migrating birds are coming through. So we've had those conversations and got that stuff documented. We just need to keep our forward lane.
Thanks for that, please.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
You did good, Carl. We got up to only 10 minutes left.
Yeah, that's always just been,
We're not gonna give it to you though, Paul.
I'm good.
that's another one of the concerns, for lack of better terminology, that, you got one building, now we're looking at two. What are we gonna do water-wise to supply two buildings?
It's gonna take some vision and some forward lean to plan for it.
Well, and that's where I go back to again, as long as everybody knows where their financial responsibility lies. That's when we can put a price tag on the land.
And cooperation amongst all the entities that are involved too.
Yeah. So,
And we know that there's people's heard us talk about the options, and it's created some stir for you guys too, so we're just trying to keep them all open so that we don't get our back against the wall.
Right.
yeah,
Very good.
appreciate that.
I don't have anything else. Yeah. Any questions for me? Oh, I do have one more thing. It's public now. We've been working with a hotel, and they have, this is not the same one that the commission worked with on the Luma property.
Right.
It's a different one. They've signed a real estate agreement for 10 acres north of Burlington, or almost 9 acres. The old Freeman property right there on 75, and it's just north of Dollar General. And it's in the floodplain. It's got to come up a bunch, but they've located some dirt. Luckily, the USD 244 just got finished with a bunch of work on their fields, and they had, I think somebody gave me a good recommendation, and it worked out. The school board donated that for use to bring that property up. They still need about another 200 or 300 tons of dirt to get that thing where it needs to be. But we're working also we're going to have to do some floodplain mitigation. We've never done it before here in the county, but we're going to do it. That's normally a city thing, but until the city annexes it, it's in our court. So ultimately, they have to provide utility hookups. So at some point, the city will engage them. But you'll hear more about this project, and it's going to be neat. He's proposing 86 beds, interior quarter, branded hotel.
Good.
I'm just in the early stages of working on that.
The sales tax from Vito, have we received any of that yet?
We received our first installment. It was only for a portion of the quarter. Next quarter will be a full quarter's collection. And I'm kind of waiting until then to give you the
Okay.
balance. That way you can kind of get an idea of what you're bringing in. I don't have anything else.
6 minutes to spare.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Lindsay,
Yeah, I just, wanted to kind of come back and give you a little bit of an update. I did contact Mike, just because I wasn't in the office when he brought in those pictures, so I didn't know about the other trailer. There is an occupant in that trailer currently. When that occupant is out, he would like to come back and request that landfill.
So he owns that property?
Yes, he does. He does own it. I wasn't sure.
It looked like it's.
I know, it was super close, but
It
I
looked
was.
like sitting right close to it.
Yeah. I wasn't in when he discussed it with Rhonda, and she's not in today, so I had to wait for a phone call back from him. But he does own that other property. There is an occupant in it. Once they find somewhere else to go, which right now the rental market is pretty crazy, so once he finds somewhere for that person to go, he will probably come back and ask for that one to be waived as well. So just thought I'd give you an update on that one.
Thank you,
Of
Kyle.
course, no problem.
Thank
Of
you.
course, have a good one.
we got 5 minutes before the
Yep.
canvas.
Go get my stuff, and you guys can take a short break real quick if you want, or whatever.
You want a short break?
We could do that.
5 minutes. So what you got?
Make it happen.
No.
Ten o'clock. So need a motion to convene as Board of Canvas serves to canvass results of August 1st, 2023 city school general election at 10 a.m.
I'll make that motion.
Steve moved. I'll second that. Wait second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, so, first off, we're gonna try to get the provisional ballot taken care of, so, I'll probably have you review that, and then, we'll go process it, I'll add it to the totals, and then I'll come back in and go through all the rest, so you can, reconvene as a Board of County Commissioners and handle anything else while I go do that, and then we'll finish, if that's okay with you guys, so. So we had 2 provisional ballots, and I'm just going to make you guys a copy of it. Basically, one of them, which was a move within the county, and that one would count because it was a move within the county. So they really shouldn't have done it because all it was the address didn't match the driver's license. Well, when they check in on the poll pad, all they have to do is state their name and address. So anyway, but this was, okay, so we said this one should count, and then the other one was just not registered at all in the county. So that one would not count. So anyway, so if you guys want to go ahead and do the motion on to accept the one provisional ballot, and
The one that's not accepted, what, the people's after voting, why do they even let them vote?
you can't deny any person the right to vote,
Okay.
even if they're not registered. That's why they fill out a provisional, and they'll vote a ballot, but it's not gonna count.
I didn't quite,
There's
didn't think
statutes
I'd quite
that,
that way.
define what counts
I
as
see.
a counted ballot, and so it doesn't matter if they live in another state. If they come in and they wanna vote in this county, they can, but it's provisional, and then it won't count.
So we need to move to accept one provisional vote and deny the other.
Uh-huh.
Also move, Mr. Chairman, to accept one provisional vote and
Do
deny.
I need to read this?
However,
Oh, you got something to read?
Yeah. I mean, I can, but I need a motion upon the recommendation of county election officer to accept one provisional ballot, to accept one provisional ballot and reject one provisional ballot consistent with state statutes, and the provisional vote totals will be added to the appropriate races. Dawn's moved.
I'll second.
Keith seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. So now we need a motion to recess as Board of Canvassers at 10:03 a.m. and to reconvene as Board of County Commissioners while the County Election Officer adds provisional ballots to the election totals. I so move. Second. I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0.
Okay, I'll be back after a bit here, and so
Okay. Unless I forgot
I'm
some special issues to go through. Okay. You got anything special for us today, Wade?
Depends on how you define special.
Well, everything you do is special, so.
That's fair.
Don't tell him that, or tell him what that is.
Well, I have a couple of things we can probably take care of right now. First one is, unless there are some unforeseen circumstances that may intervene, the closing has been scheduled for the Sunset Manor property at 10:30 on Friday. What that means is, outside of dealing with some conditions that have to be satisfied behind the scenes, which I don't anticipate right now that those issues will not be satisfied. But we still have a few days, and I've been surprised before. We'll need a motion to authorize either the chairman, I don't know if Jesse's gone for the week, or the vice chairman to sign all necessary closing paperwork so that that transaction can move forward, and then that would turn into, on Monday, then dealing with sort of opening up and a resolution and the details surrounding that real estate transaction being brought live and out into the open. So just be thinking about that for right now. We can circle back to that, but that's really what needs to happen. Somebody with the authority on behalf of the county has to be able to sign it, similar to what happened with the property up north when that closed. And that will be at 10:30, I believe, at
Right.
title company. Yes. That's what I was told. Unless that time doesn't work, I think that there's a window of time between 10 and 4, but they sent to me 10:30 was what was being requested.
I don't have a problem going. I haven't spoken to Jesse. I just know he wasn't here today, so.
Okay. Then maybe the motion could be worded, the chairman to sign unless unavailable, the vice chairman could sign, and I can put something together.
Okay.
Just, so, that is that. I'm gonna hand out, this, we dealt with this several months ago. What I'm handing out is proposed motion. You have it right there. So I'm handing you on the front and back the letter that's referenced, dated August 11th from Jones Funeral Home, dealing with the death of an indigent Coffee County resident. And if you recall, we dealt with this several months ago with another indigent Coffee County resident. And after you go through the hierarchy of priority for who gets to make decisions regarding someone who is deceased, if you get to the back end and nobody has accepted responsibility, that individual does not have the financial ability to take care of the disposition of their body, then it becomes by statute the responsibility of the county. That's what this is, the letter from Jones Funeral Home and a proposed authorization to cremate, and the letter included a claim of authority to carry out final disposition and authorization to cremate. And in essence, that requires a motion. The fee the last time was $1,000, and it allows the body to be properly disposed of in accordance with Kansas law. So, I don't know if you have any questions.
No, I do not. Anybody else? So need a motion to kind of proceed?
Yep.
Need a motion to authorize the vice chairman to sign with the approval of the county attorney the claim of authority to carry out all final disposition and authority to cremate and dispose of the remains of an indigent Coffee County resident upon the written request dated August 11, 2023, and submitted by Jones Funeral Home, Burlington, Kansas, for a sum of $1,000 and is legally required in KSA 65-1734 and KSA 22A-215. Fund to be paid from the county general fund.
Also moved.
I'll second that.
Don moved, Wade seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. There's one.
This is the motion because what I gave you was decided.
Okay. You want to put vice on there, or?
Yes, please. So, I did not name the deceased resident in the motion. I did that intentionally. If somebody wants that, they can make an open records request. I think I don't think it's fair to put people's names out there that way, and if somebody wants it, they can request it.
It's just being respectful.
Yeah.
Pass that down to Wade. So in our special issues, I pulled this voucher from Goldberg Associates just to make sure anybody's looked it over and seen it or approved it or disapproved it, or I haven't read it, but I just know it's there.
How much is it for, Tom?
$248, $157.63.
And that ties to the jail project? Would it come out of the jail construction? It's probably for design.
Well, I can, schematic design. It's showing it's, 55% complete. Basically is where we're at.
I believe that's the email that came to me and came to Angie. She printed it, and it's the next phase of sequence in the design side of the jail.
That sheet that, I forget who gave us this breakdown timetable 2 weeks ago. As of August the 10th, the 90% progress set is supposed to be done based on this. Wonder how close they are to that.
They're close, and my understanding is they will be ready to present to the board the final designs to then take the next step very soon.
See, the 100% deal is supposed to be done by September 7th, so If they're close on the 90, they'll be pretty close to the 100 then.
Yep. Goldberg was here last week, and from all accounts, they are on track with what that plan says. So, and it's been stressed, the Goldberg and the River City with the sheriff here. It's not gonna be over $30 million, and the push is that it is actually under $30 million, because that's what was talked about actually around this time last year. That's what was presented to the voters.
I can pull it, and I didn't want to pass it on without speaking to either of you first, so.
And I reiterate exactly what Wade said, 75%'s done, they said the money would be done very soon. That timetable that Warren Moody, I think, and Tom,
Seymour.
yeah,
They've
we're all
got
talking
set up,
about.
they got set up for us to approve 9/11, and that's the second Monday of the month,
Yeah.
September.
I've got a few things, but I don't wanna get too far into the weeds and then have to stop.
Yeah.
So,
Did you have something you wanted to share with us, Mr. Thompson?
I do, if I can just take 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
I don't wanna jump in front of Wade, looks like,
He said he had some other stuff, that we're waiting on Andy to get her canvassing done,
For the election.
so we can go back in as canvassers for a short.
well, it's that time of year again. I'm here on behalf of OK Kids. We have asked, for the last, 23 years, for your support, and you've given above and beyond, every year, and, so I was asked by the board to come again, as I did have the last, probably 10 or 12 years, to ask for your support, in that, of course, your financial support. As everybody knows, the weekend after Labor Day, which was the 9th and 10th, or 10th and 11th, will be the OK Kids this year, again at John Redmond, Riverside West, and it's been all but 1 year because of COVID. And we expect to have 550 to 600 kids there again this year. And as you well know, most of our money that sponsors give us goes to damn insurance. Insurance to put this stuff on is unbelievable. All these events have to be insured. So people wonder what happens with the money. Most of the money goes to our insurance. Of course, it goes to rental of bouncy houses and this and that, whatever events that we have and costs associated with it. But without your support, and all the other sponsors report it, without your support, we couldn't do what we do for the kids of Coffee County. So I had Becky look it up, and I think last year you guys gave $3,500.
I was thinking it was 30.
Was it 3,000? Okay.
I think.
Okay.
We moved it from 25 to 3, either last year or the year before,
Okay.
I don't remember.
but we probably ought to double check. I mean, I have no problem staying consistent with what we've been doing.
I know I personally donate every year as well to do it. I always encourage anybody that's never been to OK Kids, just show up and do a walkthrough. It's amazing what these people do with these kids, and
Yep.
some of these kids, there's no way they would get to experience any of this without this event.
Good.
It's just, I've attended it many, many, many times, and it's awesome. It really is awesome.
Okay.
What percentage
So a
of
lot of
kids?
work goes into it for
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson and his crew, and I know the fire department's in on it,
Wildlife and Parks, Fire Department, ambulance service.
Corps of engineers out there.
It's unbelievable, the library system, comes in and does stuff for little kids.
I think actually the Neosho Valley Quail chapter's in on this too, aren't they?
So Quail Unlimited has been a sponsor of us coming in. They help do the the trap shooting. This year, we're not gonna have trout shooting. There has been so much, it's so expensive to have the insurance for that, and we've got people that just, it's hard to find experienced people to come help all those kids. And unfortunately, it was our decision this year, until we get some other people in here to help us, we're not gonna have the trap shooting this year.
All right.
Yeah, it was getting to the point that it was getting dangerous, and we just need some other people there to help us out.
I see.
I show on 5/15 if, let's see. I show that, let's see, what is it? Well, I showed $3,500.
And you're probably correct.
I had, Becky pull up the expenses. It says 2022 OK Kids sponsorship, $3,500
35.
is what I show here. But,
What percentage of the kids come from out of county?
you know, we don't know exactly
So we're
because
getting-
we don't care. But I'm
We're
telling you,
getting, well, what I was gonna say, we're getting a lot of exposure for kids out of county.
sir,
And
every
that's
year,
that's
every,
positive.
part of my thing, my personal thing is, I've helped with the fishing derby at New Strong. And I've been doing that since we started. Myself and Tanya Cathcart basically have spearheads for this and run this. We provide the first, second, and third place of 3 different age groups, a fishing pole, a tackle box, something for their place. Plus, we buy little trophies for them, or a little ribbon or something to show in the first place. And the kids just love that. So every year, we go to Topeka, and we spend money there to buy stuff. Of course, now that EB Sports is here, we've talked about going to EB Sports and spending that money locally. And we buy things for the kids, for those awards. Every year, when you start throwing up 4 fishing poles, 4 tackle boxes, what do the clerks say? You guys look like you're getting ready to have a party. And we tell them about OK Kids. And they say, is it open? We didn't know anything about this. We'd love to bring our kids or grandkids, whatever, down here. And I tell them, get on the website, Coffee County OK Kids, and start looking at it. And we've had people show up and say, this is unbelievable that you guys provide this for the kids. The camping, the food. I mean, when you walk in on Saturday, you want nothing. Everything is taken care of. We're not here to babysit your kids. We're going to teach your kids about being outside, you know, and having that adventure and having fun. And I'm telling you, we have not had a problem for years and years and years, because those kids, all they're worried about is getting to that next event. They just want to be there and have fun.
You still gonna be able to do the milk crate thing?
I don't think our insurance allows that anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, last year we couldn't have it. Our insurance company said at one point, if you do that, we'll cancel your entire event. We'll shut off, yeah.
That was the funnest one to watch.
When you see kids going up 30 milk crates at the very top, got their toes stuck in those milk crates, oh yeah, they take their shoes off so they can get every advantage they can get to get up to the top. Yeah, that was a good thing to watch.
Yeah, it was fun.
But yeah, even though we had them harnessed, we had instructors there, you know, that kept them from falling. Insurance company just says, you can't keep doing that.
Oh, God.
So,
You know, to me, Tom, this is probably the largest program we have in the county that goes to our young kids. We know that we know that they're our history down the road, and we also know that we've got to control expenses. But this is one time, I'll move to we contribute $4,000 to the OK Kids program.
I'll second it.
It's gonna be my suggestion.
Funds come from, well, any further discussion first? Well, maybe not. We still got to decide where it's coming from. We usually do.
I don't recall where we pulled it.
I can ask Angie real quick.
Busy.
She's gonna answer questions. She's great at multitasking.
I usually community improvement.
Sounds like we're getting a lot of bang for our buck to me.
Oh,
If we can do anything for our young people, keep them out of you guys' territory later on, anything we can do.
then it is, those kids, whether they want to fish or hunt or shoot paintballs or rope climb or just face paint and get on, the small kids get on the bouncy houses. They're outside. When you walk into this place, you don't see this. Kids aren't on playing games all day long. They're outside having fun,
Last year,
and there's
community
not phones.
improvement that you guys have taken it from several
Came out of
others.
rotation.
Community improvement,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay,
So,
that's, it's got a
Dawn's
million
moving
seven
on
in it,
second,
so it's
let's
probably
donate $4,000, OK Kids funds come from Community Improvement Reserve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Greatly,
Thank you.
greatly appreciate it.
No, it's, I know a lot of time and effort goes into it on everybody's part. I mean, I've attended it several years in a row myself.
Yes, it is a great, great event, and I'd sure like for Mark to put in the paper, anybody that wants to volunteer, we'll take volunteers. Every year it's grown so much that we need volunteers. I mean, we'll take anybody that wants to come in and help with the kids. We'll put you someplace, whether it's a bouncy house or whether it's helping during the canoeing. If you have some experience in a field or you don't, there's someplace for you at this event. We'll take anybody we can get.
I think the last couple of years I was out of town, but I'll see where I stumble this year.
We'll put you to work.
Okay.
I was up to John Redmond either 2 or 3 years ago, and that first time I'd ever attended it, I can't imagine
Yeah.
all the activities going around up there. I mean,
Well, and camping's free that weekend too there.
Yes.
I mean, it's just,
Yep. And we're starting to get the Boy Scouts back involved again.
oh, really? Okay.
Yes, Scott Farmer, one of my sergeants,
Yeah,
is a scout leader,
I see.
and he's kind of taken it by the head and tried to get Emporia and the local Boy Scout troop here. Their numbers are kind of low, but he's up in Osage and has an Osage County group, and they are all going to get together and come back this year to have the cobbler contest where they fix cobbler at the end of our evening meal. Having cobbler out there. Of course, I provide ice cream from the sheriff's office to all the kids. So we're getting back into, again, trying to get more kids back involved again. I hope there's 700 kids there.
Yeah.
I think 550 kids last year, we were pretty solid on. The more kids we can get and give them that experience, hopefully they take their kids to it. It's something that we have great law enforcement presence there. We want people to know their kids are safe once they come in. They can't come and go. You know, once they get in those front gates, they're there to have the day, and we want people to know that it's a great opportunity for kids to get outside, get this outdoor experience, and get away from the television and the phones.
Great.
So I do appreciate your support. I really, really do.
It's a wonderful event.
If you will just, when the payment comes through, give it to me and I'll take it to the board or something?
Yep.
Okay,
I can do that.
all right. Well, I will let Wade have his way with you now, and I'll go back to work.
did you get that typed in there, Casey?
Yeah, Angie had to pull her desktop over, so I have it in a Word document here, and I'll get it on the Canvas,
Good. See, I couldn't.
on the Canvas, whatever.
Okay.
Anything else I can do for you, gentlemen?
Thanks for everything you do.
Continue on, yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you for all you do. See y'all later.
Bye.
Hey, appreciate it. They get you down, appreciate it. It's all coming back.
Sound like Omaha better.
See you guys later.
Take care.
Thank you.
So we don't have a specific time for Angie to come back, it's whenever she's done. Come
Yes.
back and then,
Here, sure.
all I had to do was say it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys mind if I pull this back and put a chair up here? It's kind of easier for me to talk to you that way with everything I have to hand out.
Sure.
It's probably an air close anyway.
Okay.
So, we need a motion to reconvene as, Board of Canvassers. Yes, we need a motion to reconvene as the Board of Canvassers at 10:28.
I'll make that motion.
Steve moves.
Second.
Don seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay. So. So I will give you a copy of the zero report when we started out if you want to review that. Brad and I signed off, if you guys want to sign the bottom after that, that just shows that they were zero the night before we began the counting.
Just sign the
Just
sheet.
sign the sheet, yeah, anyway, they're at the bottom. Hand you out a total sheet so that you can look at that as we go over this. The balance sheet, I call it.
Do you need to sign this one, Senator?
No,
It's
that's
just
just
our-
for you now, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
You're okay.
I probably should put that.
Yeah, 15% of people
Yep,
voted.
and that were registered in.
It was 15?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Sure be nice if we could get more of a turnout than that.
Yeah, well,
Of course, on this
city
one, it
schools
just,
generally kind of slow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm gonna start out with is showing you the poll book, poll book of people that signed in the clerk's office. We had a total of 9, and if you look on your balance sheet, there were 9 with 1 provisional, that makes a total of 10. It won't be on, you can sign the bottom of that one there.
this one.
Yeah, so you see 9 people checked in there,
Oh, yes.
and then we had a provisional, so that
Okay.
one,
And that one was.
it would be, yeah, what we just did this
Right.
morning. So that would be your 10. And as I'm doing that.
You said that you have these because there's more than 2,
These cookies.
the primary because there was more than 2 people.
Oh, yeah, there were, so the laws changed for city school elections several years back now. We used to have a primary and a general every spring, is when they used to be held. But then we would have people coming in August and November wanting to know when they could vote, when they would vote. So in our clerk's meetings, we discussed trying to make things consistent for voters, because then that way they would know elections are every August and every November. So we got that changed. And then in changing that, we also, the county election officers throughout the state, asked if we could somehow, we work with the Secretary of State's office to figure out, you know, if you had to have so many before you had a primary, because we would have primaries with just 1 person on the ballot or nobody. because a lot of times for your city school positions, you don't have a lot of people thought of. So then, working with the Secretary of State's office, they got a bill written to where there had to be, so there'd be 3 would move on to the general, but if there was one more, it would throw it into a primary. So that's why only the
So
school
more than
district.
3.
Yeah, more than 3. And I think that's how the bill actually reads, is more
I
than
see.
3. So,
I see.
yeah. Okay, the next one, the advanced, I don't know if I'm printed that one off for me, but it is on the total sheet. We had 5 that came back there.
Yeah.
And then Lebo Community Building, you'll see that there are 166 here, okay? Well, on the sheet, there's 171 when you look on the report, when you add them together. But it's because there's 5 in Osage. So what happened is those Osage voters, they live in Osage, they're in 243 school district. They came and were able to vote on the machines, which made it look like we had 5 more voters, but we had a paper poll book for them to sign, and that is here for you to see.
I see.
So that would explain that. That's why I created this balance sheet for you, so you can see why it's not
That's,
matching. So you guys can sign the bottoms of those.
Of both of them?
Yeah. And this is Osage, and I'll give you Lyons, you can sign it, nobody voted, but just sign it that you saw it if you want to. It's, no one voted on that.
Well, these are the 5,
Those are the 5 Osage poll books, yeah.
so what do we sign on?
Just, is there a spot at the bottom where you, yeah, you
Just
can sign
anywhere,
down there,
right.
yeah. Yep.
What's primary, the cost of primary office?
Probably, I'm gonna guess around 5,000 roughly.
And we can't recover that, can we?
Well, it's a possibility we could have, but I didn't initiate anything like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
because it met the guidelines to have a primary, so I didn't feel like I really could, but, you know, that is something we could look at in the future, but I don't know. I didn't really, at this point, feel like it
It
was.
probably wouldn't be positive
Yeah.
action if we did that.
And then in Waverly, we had 119 express vote people and 119 checked in. So it matched perfectly on that one.
I'm sorry.
I didn't look at it. Just the back page,
And then when you look at your balance sheet, on the front sheet here, you'll see 305, which matches your 305 on the balance sheet. And one of them is a summary and one of them is a precinct report, and they're official now because we've added everything to it, so. Yeah, you might give me that Lion. I can have them sign up on that even though there's no vote, but they've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there were none, what's Lion? I'm pretty sure the full book, but I did have this printed out for me. These are the papers, the 5 paper, guess we mailed out 7, but we only got back 5. That's an initial that. Yeah, here's the,
There's several pages here that's got different numbers on what's here.
those are
Is there a total
precinct.
page that says 305?
Yes,
I didn't see it.
did you already pass it on? You might pass it on.
So we
Right here,
had that one. So this is a summary.
305. This is by precinct,
Yeah,
so see this is Key West, and then this is with Bobo, you'll see.
numbers are completely different, but they all.
Yes, yes, they're. And we had to count 4 of the mail-out ballots by hand because they didn't read through the machine. Either the people didn't fill in the circle completely or something like that is what would cause us to have to hand count. So we had to do 4 of those. Or they might have used pencil and not black ink.
So you did go ahead and count them if they are marked?
Oh, yeah. If it's voter intent, then you go ahead and count.
The machine does.
Yeah, it's pretty clear, the voter intent, that they,
Good,
just like maybe made a part of a circle but didn't fill it in, and so, yeah.
okay, well, that's good. I don't think to see people get excluded.
Yeah. Just anywhere at the bottom or side there, one.
A lot of paperwork for one primary.
Yeah. A lot of work for a primary too.
Yeah.
But now the 2 that have 1 will go on to the
To the
general to be,
right.
into this ballot there.
Is this one?
That's a duplicate of the other one.
Okay, so it doesn't need signed.
Yeah, I would go ahead and sign it, because we always, if we ran 2 of them, then you guys would want to sign both as the canvassers.
Pardon?
Sign that one, I guess.
I know.
Well, yes, I do. I'm sorry. I do. Got those.
Get a stamp for next time, that way they can read it. Yeah, you can't read it. Can't.
Oh, they could do process of elimination.
You do both? Yeah.
They could. I just realized that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, lastly, they implemented here a few years back also that after the election, we have to have an audit done. So we draw off our precincts, and then we have a board come in, and we run copies of the ballot. So you can see this. This is the copies we used. They're straight out of the computer system. So as the ballots are read into the voting machine, a picture is taken of that ballot, exact ballot. And then I'm able to go in and select which precinct after we draw, and then I print them out, and then the audit board audits that. And so in auditing, they have to match back to election night. And so on election night, see here, their tallies where Caitlin Haddock had 14, and the other 3 had 5, and you can verify that by looking at those two reports. Here's your totals for the candidates right here, and then this is what they tallied.
Oh, bye.
Yeah, so if you guys want to sign those. Then at that, we submit a letter back to the Secretary of State's office with all of these documents showing how the ballot audit came out. And there were no discrepancies in the audit for Key West Township voting for USD number 243, board position 7. So, everything went fine.
So every voter's getting their picture taken as they vote.
That's not the voter, their ballot.
The ballot.
So when you vote on the machine, when you hit cast ballot, and it's dumping from the machine, because it runs through the machine and is printed on, and then it goes into the can. At that moment, it's going into the can, a picture is taken of the actual ballot going into the can.
Who should the board to?
We do,
I
we
mean,
do,
yeah.
yeah. We,
I mean, it doesn't make any, I was just curious how that.
yeah, they like us to have, dual party, so both parties come in and will audit. And, so we were able to find one from each party to come in and.
And everybody gets along? No,
Yes,
I'm kidding.
yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Yep, they do, they do. In fact, they joke around and laugh, and
Good.
we leave them alone so they can do their tally, and then we come back after
No,
they're
I'm
done.
just kidding.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, everything was just fine, so. Okay. Any other questions for that, or?
I don't have any.
We'll have a few contested races this fall, so, in cities and.
Didn't have any issues with the equipment or anything?
No, for some reason, they were unable to get their totals report at the end of the night, but they still bring their sticks in that we can read and get that, and then I got the totals report and everything matched up, so.
We had trouble with Gridley last
Yeah,
week.
yeah, I keep trying to make the instructions as simple as I can, but, you know, machines and
Yeah.
that can make it be difficult, so. Anyway, but yep,
Need a motion to certify the results of the canvas board.
I'll make that motion.
Steve's moved,
Second.
Don seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move, Manny, need a motion to adjourn as a canvas board at 10:46 a.m.
So move.
Reconvene as Board of County Commissioners, Wade moves,
I'll second.
Steve seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. That is our agenda till 1 o'clock, where we will do the public hearing on the community development block grant application. With that being said, we can move into the round table. I believe Wade had a few more things you wish to share with us. Yep.
So one has to do with, I guess, a byproduct of the parking project. Parking mainly around the courthouse. As a result of digging into the ground and putting in new sidewalks and the angled parking, I guess immediately adjacent to the courthouse, the irrigation system has been compromised, is the best way to put it. So in trying to figure out the status of the irrigation system, I was originally under the impression that all efforts were made to protect and not damage and keep the existing sprinkler system up and running. But then after additional discussion with Barb and River City and some of the contractors involved, that system was 20 years old or somewhere in that neighborhood and had some issues that would require probably putting in a number of new areas just to get it up and running. There were efforts made, and you probably saw, maybe you didn't know exactly what it meant, but there were slips put underneath the concrete to allow when the sprinkler system irrigation system was up and running, that those slips would allow the easier running of irrigation lines underneath the concrete, to not have to just push something under there. So that was done during that project. So an original quote was provided to me, and I requested that Barb seek additional quotes to see what else was out there. I have a number of quotes for a long time, and I don't know how long, maybe Angie knows. Schellers out of Emporia has been providing that service and some lawn care services to the county as a part of that irrigation system. In fact, when the parking project launched, he was out and walked the sidewalk and was a part of trying to help deal with what needed to be done to mitigate any damage to the irrigation system. So additional quotes were provided, an outfit out of, at my request, and some of them I was out there. The consensus was, in its current existing condition, and some of the equipment that still exists probably needs to be updated and replaced because it's antiquated and out of date, and you'd end up having to replace it within a short period of time anyways. So, I don't like coming to you asking to spend money on top of money, but it's something that if you want to make the decision to update or, I guess, make the irrigation system something that can be used, because right now it can't be used, then you're going to have to entertain one of these estimates. So under the policy, I've got 3, and I don't know if you just want me to hand them out to you so you can take a look at them. They range from just over 14,000 to 6,000. So not cheap.
Is that putting the system in all the way along the north of the courthouse and all the way here on the east side?
Yes.
It's just those 3 locations then?
The cover is going up each side of the courthouse, which I believe is what it had before outside of where the angled parking is now.
Also goes out to those islands, is it not?
Which islands?
There's a little island here, and down around the corner.
Yes, I believe that's right.
That's what the sleeves underneath the sidewalk were for, is to get out to those islands.
If I remember correctly.
Is there there's surely some disturbed dirt that we need to let it totally settle out before we put a system in? There's a lot of, I don't know.
I think, I understand what you're saying, and I probably wouldn't completely disagree with that, but in an effort to get things back up and get the landscaping done, the irrigation kind of has to go in first. Then I think by the time we create that block retaining wall, whatever you want to call it, for out here for around the perimeter to get more dirt brought in for positive drainage, I think by the time you run up equipment and what over there, you'll probably, because you're only excavated a foot in most places, in some of these 6 to 8 inches, so.
Shouldn't say.
I mean, if it was a 3 or 4 foot, 5 foot deep hole, I'd be way more concerned, but
Yeah.
I'm not saying there won't be any settling, but should be minimal.
So the hydro seed around the courthouse was canceled? And if I remember right, there was gonna be a credit
1,500.
in the neighborhood of 1,500, so that got taken off of the parking project, and that's something, and the issue is, if you see, from what I understand, and I'm by no means a lawn expert, my grass grows and I cut it, and then I let it grow and I cut it again, so, I can fertilize it, that's about the extent of my experience, but if you hydro-seeded it now without having a way to water it properly, and with the sun and the heat, you're kind of wasting that effort, was my impression. So the irrigation is something that's important if you want the area around the courthouse to have grass and look nice. That's in essence what it comes down to, and historically it goes back at least 20 years from when that system was installed.
Yeah, normally you wouldn't seed until the latter part of, the last part of August to into September, just to catch the fall rains would be the normal,
Cooler then.
a little cooler, and hopefully you catch fall rains. And to your point, yeah, if you seeded now, normally you wouldn't, without some type of irrigation, you wouldn't.
So what do these sprinklers consist of? Do they come up out of the ground, or what? I'm not familiar with what we have now.
So the one that's most comprehensive in its description of proposed work talks about installing 10 valves, a new main line, new wire, new lateral lines along the sidewalk, new heads and pipe and islands created by new parking areas. The other two don't have that detail.
I see.
The only thing that would be of concern to me would be by the time we get our landscaping blocks done and bring some more dirt in for positive drainage, with that irrigation company have to come back and raise or adjust heads to accommodate that, and are they aware of that, or I just happen to think of this one.
That would be a question for, I guess,
The effort, which should be minimal, but there's still something that probably have to be addressed.
right.
The main line, how deep do they normally bury them?
Not too
Are they
deep.
30 inches deep for winter?
No, they come blow them out.
Or is it-
When winter comes, they blow them lines out, so there's no
I've never been
water.
around sprinklers.
So there's a optional service agreement that one included spring startup and fall winterization, so, and it's not very expensive. I know Schellers also include, that they also treat, spray the lawn and that side of things too, so they already do work for the county and have for some time.
That's the company out of, like, get ready for it.
It's something that needs to be considered. I know the city down here, you know, they just got through laying mats down 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't know what they call that. For all the, I'm not sure how many square yards are. Is this something that ought to use the mat stuff rather than using seed? I know it'd be more expensive, but
Yeah,
boy, it's
solid.
that deal down there at the county on, you know, where the stoplights are, that looks fantastic all the time.
You have to barb, I guess, and wait, but I think once you get the irrigation in, you can water it.
Once you've got it seeded, and if you've got the sprinkler system, it should be good.
It should be.
Yeah, I mean, that,
It should survive.
yeah.
I think we just gotta get the irrigation in first before we can do much landscaping.
Yeah.
Do we need to get
I
this
could be
dirt
wrong with them, Tom. They're gonna be trenching and digging up and this and that and the other, so until you get the blocks in, you don't know how much dirt you're gonna need, so.
And we might track down Barb and have her come in and maybe give an update. I know she's had a couple different, entities come in and they were gonna work on a quote on the landscaping side of things, and maybe the landscaping plans may impact, I mean, I understand not wanting to, you go through and you deal with the irrigation, and then the landscaping undoes what was just done with the irrigation, so they probably need to work simultaneously if that's what's gonna happen. But we don't have those quotes yet that I know. I know I've met a couple of those people.
Maybe do need the landscaping in first and then irrigation. I was thinking the other way around, but that's the way you worded it, makes more sense.
Yeah, if they're gonna come in and turn any kind of dirt,
Yeah,
I'm not sure how that would impact the irrigation side of things.
yeah, you're exactly right.
And those lines are, on the irrigation side, I had one at one point years ago. They're kind of sensitive, or they can be. And if you disrupt one of those heads and it can't pop out of the ground the right way, then you're gonna impact it. You're gonna have to replace it. So,
Yeah. Sound like we need to get that landscaping in,
okay.
dirt in and then irrigation, but still we probably ought to accept the bid if you got one that you're recommending.
Well, let's wait a week so I can get a little more information. I think behind the scenes, we've gotten enough, we've gotten several quotes, and we've reached out far and wide. One of the issues is having somebody who wants to come to Coffee County. Because in the big city, they're all over the place. But locally, you kind of have a select number of options to choose from. So we reached out. I reached out to. I had Barb reach out and try to cast as wide a net as we could, so we at least had options. So I'll bring that back to maybe once we know a little bit more about the landscaping side of things.
Okay.
But I didn't want there to be sticker shock when you heard the recommendation is to replace the entire system, and that's what each of the individuals said
You see that range, 6,000 to 14,000.
in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Number two, following up with the parking side of things, I received an email late last week that the local school district put up signs just down across from the Methodist church that's 244 parking only. So I think the county thought that was an option for parking.
Fleet vehicles is what we were thinking originally, if I remember correctly.
Either fleet vehicles or overflow or something else. So I don't know, going back in time, the history of that parking area, that angle parking. Someone told me that was the idea and the recommendation of a prior commission several years ago. I don't know if we could go back in time and figure out what was going on at that.
I don't remember what year, but I do know I was in business then, and we did turn in a bid for the concrete on that. And APAC out of Emporia got it at that time. And the Coffee County Commission did pay for it. But I have reached out to Craig Marshall. He was busy this morning, just kind of get his thoughts and his input and just have an open conversation. So I'd have something to talk about, but I haven't had the opportunity to speak with him.
So this is a map that was given to me. The area that we're talking about is circled in red. So
the city's the only one that probably give them permission
I
to do
have,
that, isn't it?
I have no idea.
To put the signs up, you mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
I do not know.
There's about 15, 18 parking spots is there. There's quite a few there.
I'd often kind of joked around with Mark from the city street superintendent about that area in front of the school, the north of the school over there, you know, create parking there. He said the city actually owns that.
About the
rest
school,
area? Yeah, the school owns that. I thought, I had nobody from the school had more parking there, but the city actually owns that. They're just kind of letting them use it, he said. That was news to me, so.
And hopefully, when the jail project launches, that will be parking that will be helpful for either employees or citizens to utilize, because it'll probably be somewhat of a congested in an area where it is not, although, you know, pickup and drop off will still need to occur. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, because it was brought to my attention.
Well, like I say, I'll speak with Craig. Just like I say, just some open discussion about thoughts and ideas.
The last thing I have is, I was hoping we'd have a full board, but we don't, but I'm still gonna make the same request. 15-minute executive session, non-elected personnel. Job performance, it's sort of also, although it's what I would characterize as a hybrid executive session. And by that I mean it could also dovetail into attorney-client or potential litigation type scenario. The majority or the main focus is non-elected personnel. So, myself and the board.
Motion,
I'll make that motion.
Steve moved,
I'll second that.
Yeah. 15 minutes.
I didn't catch you second. Oh, you guys kind of said it at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay?
15 minutes, county attorney and board of commissioners will go in at, all in favor? Did we do that?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay. We'll go in at 11:09 for 15 minutes.
It was in session, right?
Okay.
I remember after I saw who was here.
We're back and need to make a request, same thing, same people, same subject matter, for 10 more minutes.
Also move,
I'll second.
Steve seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 4-0, we'll go in at 11, or 29. I was gonna say 30, but.
Great.
Did you take my phone?
Yep.
Don't lose it.
Nope, I'm gonna give it back to you, but I just
Here's
wanted
the
to.
section. And, yeah, oh, there you go.
You have anything else?
Since you're coming back this afternoon, I need to think about the Sunset Manor side of things. That one was the county purchasing property from somebody else. This is somebody purchasing property from the county under a sealed bid that hasn't been disclosed to this point. When you purchase the Bailey property, that everybody signed that at the same time because it was that occurred in an open session. So if the closing is on Friday, obviously that would be in an open session, and I just have to think about it a little more. So. But outside of that, for today, I think that's plenty.
Okay.
I'm good.
Dawn?
When our meeting was over Monday, Jesse asked me what I thought about how we need to proceed ahead with the mill levy. We know our average residency here in Coffee County went up 5%. Most of the counties around us went up between 7 and 11%.
Right.
And all the real estate values had an average increase of 2%. And we talked for probably 5 minutes, and I talked to Phil, our attorney, last week, and because he's going to be here Monday, asked him what some of his thoughts were, you know, whether we need to keep the mill levy exactly where it was or go up 50% of what the revenue neutral rate is. So we got 3 different options. And Jess and I think is looking along the same line. And then we talked again this morning, and he wants, Jesse, and I can't disagree, he wants to hold a special session this week so that we're prepared to talk about it Monday when we finalize everything. And right now we're shooting for Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. And I talked to Wader, and that would work. I didn't know whether it would work for you or not. But Jesse can be here Thursday. He can be here Wednesday, or else he can be here Thursday. But Angie's not available Wednesday. But we need to work something out that, you know, would be the best interest of our citizens. But the other side of it is with our mill levy dropping, or our valuation dropping $36,000, correct that, $36 million, that, you know, our revenue is going to drop if we don't go up to the revenue neutral rate. But I know we're a little bit concerned of taking that big of that would have an increase of, on our residencies of almost 11%, and on the real estate values, it have an increase of almost 8%. And I know for a couple of us, we're resistant to go that much.
I'd hate to raise it that much.
I'm sorry?
I'd hate to raise it that much, but that's just, I wasn't one of the ones he's talking about.
Yeah.
Well, you hate to raise it any more than we have to, I'll put it that way. If we have to, that's what we have to do.
Yeah. We have to make the best decision for our citizens, but also the best decision for the county as a whole. We, you know, we need to control expenses, but we also got to, control our income to a point where our citizens will understand it. So it's kind of a difficult decision. But Jesse'd like to have a meeting especially set up for making a decision on our mill levy.
So to continue our meeting.
Be a continuation.
What's your schedule?
Thursday at 9, I just looked at my calendar, I don't have anything going on.
I'd be good with that.
Okay. I know Wade would be tied up that morning probably, but, yeah, when we, if that's agreeable, everybody, you know, as we're gonna be recessing pretty quick to 1 o'clock, that we could, recess following that part of it till Thursday morning, 9 o'clock. That's all I have, Tom.
Is everything on the, up and up on that? I mean, we don't have to do anything special. I mean, that's kind of a short notice thing, I don't know if we need to.
It is, and Jess and I neither one talked to Wade on.
Yeah, you had said you talked to Wade, but you meant,
I talked to this Wade.
you know, a continuation or you're wanting a special meeting just to discuss that topic, right?
Well, I shouldn't say a special meeting, because there may be some other things come up that we can talk about. I shouldn't say a special meeting specifically for that, but I said it that way.
Okay.
We're wanting to do it just because Mr. Knight couldn't be with us today, so.
Sure.
We were to continue our meeting, and normally we have a work session after lunch to address some of these items, so it sounds like we need to recess till Thursday at 9 a.m. for where everybody's available.
Too bad you couldn't do it Friday, then you could take care of closing too.
I can't, I'm not available Friday, but that doesn't mean anything, I just can't do it Friday.
Think about it, if we need to change something when we come back from lunch, we can.
And I think the issue will be for those who want to come in and be a part of that discussion, how do you, I mean, I guess if they get the paper, it'll be in the papers, but there'll need to be a campaign of some sort, maybe posted on the county webpage, social media, because that, if people want to be a part of that discussion, they need to know that it's occurring. And today's Monday, so it's not like it's happening tomorrow.
But I mean, we could discuss it, I'm not saying that I want them to be notified, but we could discuss it today if we wanted. I mean,
Right.
so I mean, as far as notifying people, that's a topic for
Yeah.
any day. And
Sure, but if you're having a meeting to discuss it.
Right,
That's
I
why
agree, I'm just, you know,
If Jess had been here, we'd discuss
I
it.
think we'd be within our rights.
This is just a thought, and since Phil's coming Monday, correct? Can this be something that we could, while Phil is here, have a work session with him after lunch next Monday? It's just a thought, I don't know if that decision needs to be made prior to Phil getting here, or
Well, the hearing is when you would have to either approve the budget or make changes to it then, I believe.
And when is that?
Next Monday.
That's Monday. So,
9:30, I think.
Let's see,
so that's all we need to have this
prior to then, I
work
guess.
session, if you would, prior to Monday then.
It'll give Phil time to get the numbers changed if you're wanting to make changes.
I see.
And they're here at 9 o'clock.
if we just do the continuation of this meeting into Thursday morning,
That was just a thought, I just wanted to know what, I got my answers, so,
sure,
yeah.
because Thursday morning may be more items than just this one issue.
Right, you know, we don't want it to have a special meeting for that, I don't think.
Yeah, to me, it probably still needs to be an open meeting. If something else comes up,
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
we're here to discuss
We can
it.
deal with it, yeah.
So if you're continuing the meeting but adding something to the agenda, then it's actually a different meeting, isn't it? I'm just thinking,
That's why I'm looking at you, making sure we're, and that's the only reason I mentioned moving things around on Monday to accommodate Phil, yet get what Dawn wants accomplished.
I think you'd be better served to probably have a special meeting, because you're modifying your agenda from today to add something.
Oh, I see.
And people pay attention when the notice goes out for your agenda. If it's not on the agenda and then you continue it,
Then you put added.
you're adding something to your agenda. You should have amended your agenda early on and added it, but,
And Phil's gotta have his stuff done by the 21st, or,
He'll have it all ready for you for the hearing, yeah.
again,
And then-
does the hearing have to be on the 21st, or can it be the
Yes,
28th?
that's what it's
or-
been published for.
Okay.
It's already published for that, if it hadn't been, we could extend it a week or two. No way to correct that.
so it might make more sense to have a special meeting to discuss that topic, which, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
You can do that, and, notice would go out the same way as any other agenda. In fact, you could have a special meeting, I mean, if you remember during COVID, had a special meeting with very little notice, because it had to happen out of necessity when the public health officer stepped down. And all you have to do is, everybody agree they want a special meeting right now. And the issue was, in that instance, I had to reach out and talk to each commissioner individually, but make sure that everybody didn't talk to each other. You're all together, so you don't have to worry about that. You can agree that that's what you want to do. Then you have to be able to provide sufficient notice to the public, so if they want to attend, which today's Monday, you want to do that Thursday. So I think,
Which, Angie, that would be just put out just like a first meeting.
Put the
So it'd
agenda
be-
out, and then it'd be a special meeting, is what we would call it.
But
and then-
people could still see exactly what,
Yeah,
yeah.
but that would be the only topic you could discuss.
that's the key with a special meeting.
Okay.
You can't talk about anything else.
Okay.
So you're stuck for that particular topic,
But
but
I'm fine with that.
And I'm fine with that.
that's fine.
Sounds like it's Thursday at 9 now.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Maybe we can move, we can't move the closing up because it's a special meeting, so.
So I don't have anything else, Paul.
So you could, I guess, so that it's clear and there's a record of it, make a motion to hold the special meeting with the specific topic that you want to hold, to commence on August
17
17th
at 9 a.m.
at 9 a.m. to discuss budget.
Mill levies.
And revenue neutral. And that's really what you want to talk about, right?
Correct.
And then if somebody wants to attend, they'll have notice of that, because there's that email list that it goes out to when you have a agenda.
So,
Okay, I moved this up. Move that
I'm
up.
following you, yeah.
Okay. I had to get that other one, that's for later. Okay.
So need a motion to hold a special meeting, discuss the 2024 budget, such mill levy, revenue neutral rate on Thursday, August 17, 2023 at 9 a.m.
Also move.
Dawn's moved, Keith seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Done.
I think that's the cleaner way to do it. Then you don't have to deal with agenda topics if someone saying it wasn't on the agenda.
This is all we're dealing with, it's just this one item.
Okay.
Everything I've got's been addressed. I'm on.
I don't have anything, Angie, do you?
The only thing I have is, we received this letter from MT Networks for installation of fiber. It's it's a 100% cost of the drop onto your property will be paid by a grant. There's no cost to the county, and so it says your property will need to be made available to our company personnel or subcontractors as needed until completion, and it's they're going to do it at the old JSC building. So I don't know if you want to make a motion for the vice chairman to sign the installation authorization form for that to occur.
The old JSB.
Or the JSB, I say old.
I was gonna say there was
It's been up there for a while, I guess.
I'd make that motion to allow the vice chair to,
I second that.
Any discussion? No cost, right?
No cost. In that top paragraph, you'll see, it says it's
That's our kind of deal.
Yeah. No get them around.
Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
No help.
Be no cost.
Aye.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
I'll get it sent off to them. And that was all I had.
Well, I don't really have anything, so we can recess at 11:47 till 1:08 p.m. where we'll have the public hearing to discuss community development block grant. My focus on this project as best as possible.
Yeah, we didn't divert our attention away from this project at all. This is number one, no other battery plants, no major economic development projects. Haven't had time for that.
So we are back in session and make sure we're just going to move to enter to a public hearing at 1 o'clock here to discuss community development block program.
Right.
Need a motion from Steve and John seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Garrett Nordstrom with Governmental Assistance Services. At this time, we usually open the public hearing for public comment and see if we have any there to meet our participation requirement with the Department of Commerce. Well, this would be for, right now, we're opening the public hearing for the SSM Secure Semiconductor Manufacturing project at the Coffee County Airport to construct a multi-layer ceramic capacitor manufacturing facility that you've heard quite a bit about. So I'd be willing to answer any question about the project at all, or talk a little bit about it.
Maybe we ought to acknowledge we really don't have anybody here from the public to hear any comments, so I guess we'll just proceed.
And typically, we would close the public hearing for public comment, and then I can answer any one of your questions. And I know Bobby wants me to touch on a few points before we leave.
Proceed, I guess.
Okay,
There's
excellent.
no public making comment, so.
Well, SSM is, of course, is the multi-layer ceramics capacitor manufacturing facility.
do we need to close?
Yeah.
Close it.
Yeah.
If you're going to
I'll make that, I'll make that
Okay.
motion.
I'll second to close the public hearing. Steve?
Well, you just go through the
at what
bullet
time?
points of it.
102.
We are making
All in
application.
favor, say aye. Aye. Sorry, I'm trying to
That's okay, of course.
Make sure we
let
do
you
our-
go. and
Parliamentary
make sure we're doing all our
procedure.
Procedures, yes.
We are making an application to the State Department of Commerce in the Community Development Block Grant Economic Development category. This allows for a county or a city to apply for a $750,000 award on behalf of a private entity. We're planning on using the award at $750,000 to construct the public access road. It's intended, in this part, it's partly grant and partly loan. The grant will, only 25% of the $750,000 will be repayable we will arrange for that to be repayable by the entity over a 10-year period at 0%. The road is intended to remain, to give access to future entities that might want to locate along it, but it will be paid for directly with the grant application, or the money for the grant.
But that money's gonna come from the grant. I mean, you say it's gonna be held at 0% interest. Who's holding that? Who's holding the loan?
So the state will hold it, but once there is an award, upon completion, we will arrange a special assessment on the SSM property over 10 years at 0%. And they will agree to that. They've already agreed upon the terms. And we will, through the county, make repayment to the state of that 25%. I want to say it's 162.5. $187.5, excuse me. So SSM LLC will repay that $187,500 over 10 years at 0%. And so the Department of Commerce will arrange the paperwork as an award, when and if we get this award, the terms and the placement of that special assessment. But that won't happen until the close out of the grant application. So SSM, we have two budgets. One is the CDBG budget, which we want to show what we're going to do in the first 18 months to 2 years. We want to close that out. And then the SSM budget is their full budget, which you've been dealing with for the last several weeks with the financial advisor. So we published a total project of $11,883,075, which will just include their vertical construction and their equipment purchases and their infrastructure costs. Now, they have another cost estimate that we've been looking at for this entire time, which is $20 million. Excuse me. The budget that we've been talking about for this entire time is $20,697,500. So those are actually the costs on the entire project when everything is said and done. But it's our idea to go in there, get this CDBG award, help them offset the infrastructure costs, get them to build their building, get their equipment in there, get some people hired there, and we close that grant out. And then the rest of those costs in there, another $9 million and some, will be their cost they budgeted into their other expenses. Other expenses like, let's say, machinery other than manufacturing. They've got annual lease payments, materials and tooling, startup, tech transfer costs, employee recruiting, onboard training, things like that. The idea is we budget a few set of activities under the CDBG program, and we close it because the CDBG program comes with a certain amount of red tape and requirements and oversight. We want to close it, meet the requirements of the grant, and then move on to the rest of the project.
You know, I was thinking the total dollars involved in putting this all together is $20 million.
That's right. So the entire sources of use of the fund is $20,697,500. But the CDBG program allows us to carve out any one of those numbers we want, and we have just budgeted for infrastructure costs, which is going to be water infrastructure, sanitary sewer collection system, road, gas line, and vertical construction. Then we also put in the equipment purchases so we could show a significant project to CDBG. And then we will close that project out, and once they get going in operation, then they will spend the rest of the money on it. That will get them to $20 million easily.
Now, SSM, don't they have a high dollar piece of equipment already at the warehouse in Lebo?
They do. And
they've already funded that.
Well, I don't know where it is exactly, but they've already purchased it, and we've discussed with the Department of Commerce already. Typically, they don't let us include, equipment purchase or any purchase before a grant award. So that's one of the reasons why we could carve out a little bit of the project there. And
we don't really have final numbers on our infrastructure yet, though, as far as costs. So what if it's, in order to get ample water or ample sewer, it's 2 million?
Okay, so we are only required to match 50 cents for every dollar of CDBG money we spend. So if we ask them for $750,000, we, being SSM, are only required to spend $375,000. So once we've met that match for a total of a $1,125,000 project, we've either met or exceeded our commitment to CDBG. Everything that we spend in excess of 50 cents to their dollar is gravy. And so we've met our commitment, and we'll be able to go ahead and close that project out. Now, if it's more than what we think it's going to be, then we will budget that on the SSM side. It'll be part of their match.
So CBG grant started out at 560,000, is that right? I mean, originally?
562.5, I think, is where
Right.
you're going. Yes, they're going to give us
Okay.
grant us $750,000.
Okay,
And they're going to let us use that for infrastructure.
okay,
And then SSM will repay 25% of that
Okay.
over the next 10
10 years
years.
at 0%.
At 0%,
Right.
yeah. We don't anticipate the road being 2 million. There's been conservative
No longer
estimates.
than it is, you wouldn't think it'd be that.
We don't anticipate that. I think we've had, our engineers at CFS have looked at this very carefully, and 750,000 is I think, extremely conservative number that we can count on.
Do you think you can fall within that, your hopes are?
Yes.
Well, that one probably would be easier to assess, I guess, if you will, than say the water and the sewer so far. And that's where my biggest concern lies, is the cost of what that's gonna be and who's financially responsible for that.
Can I, please? That's something I've been misunderstanding. You said that a few times, but there's no anticipation that the county's gonna pay for any of that. The company's covering 100% of that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no anticipation.
And maybe it's been said to me 3 times and or 5 times or whatever, but I
just haven't.
want to make sure everybody's on the same page of whose responsibility lies financially where and what and all like that.
Yeah, so they're right now, they aren't anticipating coming to the county with any requests.
Other than to buy the land.
Yes.
They're picking up the tab on the infrastructure and we're getting a grant for the road and everybody's happy.
That's right.
So that helps us determine how much the land purchase price is.
Yes, sir. And again, even if they're still willing to pay a price for the land, even though they're picking all the other expenses up too. But next week or the next, the attorney, Joe Serrano, is going to come here with an actual developer's agreement that has it'll have every question answered in it. Who's paying for what the county's doing, what the company's doing, and that they sign and commit to.
And I believe that's just a piece of paper I have not held in my hand yet.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He'll come to you in a week or two.
Okay.
Carl was with me just a while ago. He just got started on it. Getting it built.
That's one of our major concerns, like Tom mentioned earlier today, is, it's not the highest concern what we sell the land for, it's what's it gonna cost us to sell the land, and if what you're saying, if that's the case, then that makes it, and then your thoughts.
Makes the land a little cheaper.
Yes, it does. I believe so, yeah.
No pun intended, but I mean, really,
Yeah. We're not that.
I don't know if everybody agrees to that statement, but.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as concerned about that as with the, we all are wanting to see some, and my feelings are, the county's committed a lot of money to all these projects, and we want to see some,
Return.
some movement forward.
Well, we wish it to be successful too, and nobody to come back on the back end and say, oh, that wasn't, we didn't plan on that much money, or something like that, so.
Right.
So as long as everybody's doing their homework and doing their research and making sure New Strong can do what they need to do, or Rural Water District 3 can do what they need to do.
Right.
I mean, we're entrusting everyone here to give us the information we need to make an educated decision.
Yeah, because it's our job to decide, but we're all dependent on all the input we're getting. You know, that's just the facts. We can't know everything about everything. My can't anyhow.
You know, there at one time, they said that road that'd be going north is gonna get into that 8 acres. Is that still a fact?
But yes, sir.
Do we need to reach further east and sell them,
So it's only getting into
and move 100 feet further east and give them the 8 acres there, and rather than being some of it being the road?
We started I think Commissioner Huguenin had talked about that once, about going back to the drawing board and just moving everything east. But it would throw the timetable off for everything, the financing, the grant, everything.
Okay, that's what they brought up. If we make that change, then we lose that opportunity.
So what the engineers did was they guaranteed that it would not affect but so much of the property, and the industry, SSM, took a look at it and said, we're good with that. So the county will have a perpetual easement across their property forever. And it'll just be, you'll have claim to that easement space for roadway, so you can keep it up.
So they're gonna own that, and we'd have an easement.
That's right.
So we still have the same amount of acreage is what you're,
Yes, sir.
nothing changed there.
That's right.
There one time they was talking about that might possibly take out a little more parking than what they're willing to give up. But evidently that's all been resolved.
Well, the theory also is if they ever do get that busy and they need some extra parking, they can come back to the commission and say, hey, we'd like to buy some extra acre or two. And, if it ever gets that way.
Carl, you got something you wanna weigh in with?
One thing I just want to always have that reminder is we're working with Rick Walker and Saban on the engineering part of the water studies that's involved with all this, but it's not part of the cost of the infrastructure at this time. Always want to keep that, I'm not sneaking anything in on the back door.
Right.
But other than that, all this makes sense.
We are budgeting, I'm sorry, Carl.
Go ahead.
We will be budgeting their final design costs, though, into the cost of the project
Okay.
at that time, so it will show up.
I'm floating off.
You're all right.
No, we're good. Since I got on the numbers.
We're fine. Sometimes it's in a bad spot at the podium.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
I've just got one question on the 20,700,000. That's projected total budget. So does that entail the infrastructure then?
It does.
Okay.
It also includes that.
Okay, all right. That's all I got.
I will be back before you after you have reviewed your agreement that Joe Serrano with Kutech Rock will be presenting. It'll be kind of your agreement with SSM. The grant application will need to be submitted with an authority to apply. That is a resolution that you put forth, stating that you have the authority to apply for this grant. It'll also have that matching funds number on it, and so that'll be kind of locked in your resolution. I'd like to have you have the agreement with Kutech Rock in place, or you at least generally agree on it before we put a resolution in front of you. So 2 more weeks, I'll be back in front of you. Does that make sense, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Who draws up all that contract? Is Joe? Joe draw that contract up, or?
Yes, sir.
Which it don't make a difference. I mean, anybody can do it.
Joe
will be doing that for us?
Yes, sir. And if I can get them to do it, I'll have them send it to Angie so she can distribute it to you guys.
Yes.
So
So we
you
need to
have a
have
chance to review.
Wade sign off on it.
Of course, but y'all are the one who makes the decisions. I'm just saying. We'll get it to you though.
On his recommendation, though.
On his, yeah.
That's right.
So right now, it looks like that contract will be in place in 2 weeks, or?
Yes, sir.
3.
Nope.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if the commission.
Yeah. How quick they expect to break ground?
So that's another thing. They've got a date, September the 1st, on the calendar to do a groundbreaking. They technically probably won't actually start construction until the end of September. The September 1st day is just a ceremony.
With a shovel?
With a shovel. And
gold one at that.
Everybody has to bring their own.
Yeah, they're expensive.
So it's
You
your
could
first,
do that like the ethanol plant over at Garnett did. They furnished a brand new shovel to all the directors and 3 or 4 of the key personnel. We had 15 shovels lined up all across there, and they were painted in gold, and it was just a regular shovel, wasn't a spade, but, you know, it was wide enough. Do something like that to make these celebrations.
yes, sir, we can do that. For $40, we could probably have a bunch of gold shovels.
I don't know what those shovels cost, but I've got two of them at home now that are laid up.
We'll do that.
I've never been
Oh,
used.
okay, I was just curious.
I ain't mad enough to use a shovel anymore. But it's a good gesture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
SSM probably pay for them.
They could. We can, in fact, you'll see.
I'll bring one on Thursday and show you,
Yes, sir.
okay?
That'll be good.
Can't think of something else.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming down.
See you.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you again.
So,
Just to give you guys an updated number, I went down, dug through my notes. When I told you I've been working with them, and right now we're looking at about 1,200 gallons per day total that they would produce out there in the processed water and the employees.
Okay.
And I mentioned 14 earlier, so just be thinking 12 to 14
Sure.
there. So,
that's not a huge volume, so.
no, it's not. Like you'd asked the question about for that many people, the number I was given them estimated is 30 people that would be there a day. We found an EPA number that estimated that it'd be about 15 gallons per day for people for their daily use that they would have out there. And then we've got it figured right now about a little over 700 gallons for processed water a day.
Okay.
So that would go to the wastewater side.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
So,
not huge.
no, on the wastewater side, that's really not huge at all.
No.
So. Other than that, I'll let you guys go.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
See you.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks.
Is that it?
Nothing, unless you wanna do one quick last roundtable.
You got something?
I do.
And that's a loaded question. Yeah,
I didn't remind you, but, I guess I just got it confirmed last week. You will have EOC training next Monday at 11 o'clock for 1 hour down in the EOC after the meeting. I mean, if you come back for work session at 1 or something, you could do that, but you'll have EOC training. I have it on your to-do list as a reminder too, so. Then we have the hearing next Monday, of course, your special meeting this Thursday. I got 2 rooms reserved at the Hilton Garden Inn in Wichita, so if any of you decide to go
Oh, that's
to
okay.
KAC.
How quick you gotta pay for that?
Huh?
How quick you gotta make a payment for that? It's $480.
It's reserved right now, but we would need to cancel within 20 hours before going
Okay.
down. So like that week before, if no one's gonna go, we would need to cancel.
Yeah, had plenty of time then.
And
You said we got an EOC meeting on the 21st?
at 11, training, EOC training, yeah,
Will that be down here or downstairs?
Downstairs. So you would adjourn the meeting or recess it and then come back later at 1 o'clock if you wanna have a work session or something. And
We
that's,
got the budget hearing, is there a time set?
it's at 9 o'clock.
It's at 9?
So we got it like
Well, 9 o'clock,
9:05.
just as soon as you open the meeting and approve the minutes, go into the budget hearing.
Because,
I had it wrote down on Tuesday,
What?
the budget hearing. That's on Monday?
Yeah, it's Monday.
Okay.
see, Phil, what time you gonna have Phil do the budget?
He'll be here at 9
o'clock?
next Monday for the hearing. And then you'll have time to make changes if any additional changes are to be made after your meeting Thursday. And do you want me to leave quite a bit of time with him, or is 30 minutes long enough?
Phil?
We'll know more Thursday. But I would think 30 minutes, he's planning on enough for Phil.
Yeah, I would think so.
He kinda wants a good idea on which direction we're gonna be going.
Yeah,
Friday just gonna give him one day to chat with you, but
well,
he already is aware of it.
yeah.
Maybe gonna go less than the revenue neutral rate.
Okay, so I'll maybe go ahead and put someone about 9:30 if anyone wants to be on, so. That's all I have.
Anybody else got anything you wanna throw out there?
When are they gonna wanna buy some ground if think they're gonna wanna buy
Well,
some ground?
we'll wait
before they
till,
figure it out?
we'll wait till Jesse's here next week, maybe, and, you know, if we wanna, if we get a full morning or whatever, we can come back after lunch, or we can discuss it at the end of the meeting, or next week, is what I'm suggesting anyway, at this time. But again, and maybe it's been presented to me and I've forgotten it. And that's what I'm gonna spend another hour doing here, is make sure I'm where I wanna be. I'm gonna focus a lot of attention on between SSM and BDO and the CHIPS, to make sure I'm digesting everything as best I can.
Right.
But I'll go back to that, maybe we received that in writing and then I don't remember it, I can't find it, or I can't recall it, but I just wanna make sure everybody knows their role and who's buying what.
That would be,
And I think Jesse made the statement, and I agreed with that statement, that the sale of the land would be cheap if we don't have, I mean, if all we have to do is maintain the road after it's put in, or, you know, if we don't have to upgrade the water line, or, you know, upgrade a sewer line, or put in a gas line, or something like that, then.
That's the worst part about it, is that's an unknown as far as.
Right now it is,
It
yeah.
is.
we have a lot more when we have this contract that he's talking about. Am I
Exactly,
correct?
yes.
I'd be much more assured that
Yeah,
this
I
is
agree.
what's agreed upon anyhow.
I agree.
I know we were told that today, but I'd like to have the agreement from them, you know.
I mean, there's a lot of things that come to my mind that, you know, we could do to help SSM be successful without, straining them tax-wise or any other route until things are up and rolling, I guess. It's just a thought
Yeah.
going through my mind, so. But there's definitely a lot going on between the jail,
There's a
parking
lot.
lot, CHIPS, SSM. Wow,
It's a pretty busy time.
it is. So I guess, if nobody's got anything else, we'll recess till 9.
You'll adjourn until Thursday, because you're adjourning this meeting.
We're gonna have a new meeting.
All right.
It's a special,
Okay, yeah, we'll adjourn
until
till
Thursday.
9 a.m.
Thursday.
Thursday morning, where we'll be discussing mill levies and budgets prior to Phil.
Yep.
Sounds good. So at 1:27, we're adjourned.
It is.